a great deal because that's the only way I can explain the enormous efforts that President Trump made on his behalf to protect him. And so that's why he should be worried. And what Flynn would have to do is go to the special prosecutor and say, I want to make a proffer of evidence. This is what I would tell you if we can come to an agreement. That proffer would be made protected. It couldn't be used against him unless they reach a deal. But then he would have to convince the prosecutor that he has enough information to make it worthwhile excusing his liability and giving him some sort of immunity so that he can cooperate. So that means either the president is in his target or the president's son or son-in-law. Those would be the most likely people that Flynn could provide evidence against.
Okay, so clearly they're going after big fish here, but what do you think, knowing what you know about this investigation, what do you think Mueller's camp would be laser focused on right now?
It's very hard to say. There are so many potential crimes involved. Certainly there is the possible working with the Russians, and I'm trying to avoid using the word collusion because that has become a buzzword saying there is no crime of collusion, which is true. But working with the Russians is a crime. So if there is any evidence of that, it's possible that Flynn knows that. The other thing is he certainly may know about obstruction of justice in terms of firing Comey to protect Flynn, in terms of some of the other episodes of possible collusion. I'm sorry, I just used that word. In terms of working with the Russians. So there's both the actual conspiracy to take information from the Russians and possibly even to have been involved in the original hacking. But then there's the obstruction to avoid finding out the evidence about those working together.
So if Flynn is agreeing to cooperate, does that signal to you that he feels exposed, that he feels unprotected by even a possible presidential pardon?
Yes, I would say the fact that his legal fees haven't been paid, or at least that we don't know that they've been paid, the fact that no pardon has been offered might have made him uncomfortable. But the other thing that could be playing a role in this is that he may have committed a violation of state law. When he was talking about possibly kidnapping an American resident, the Muslim cleric Gulen, to return him to Turkey, that becomes a state crime as well. And the president cannot pardon him from violating a state crime. Mueller could be working with the state district attorney to say, let's give him immunity on both federal and state charges. And that would be very attractive to him. The other thing is he also has to worry, Flynn, needs to worry about his son, who is deeply involved in this, and he may want to be protecting his son as well. So he has reasons to act beyond that. But if he had a full pardon for both himself and his son, that would be okay, but wouldn't protect him from state charges of kidnapping.
Okay. So with regard to pardons, former FBI Director James Comey claims the president said to him, I hope you can see your way clear to letting this go, to letting Flynn go. He's a good guy. I hope you can let this go. So would a pardon for Flynn put the president in legal jeopardy?
I think it would. I think there are many things that the president has already done that indicate obstruction of justice. When he says that to Comey, and Comey doesn't do as he's asked, and Comey gets fired, that's obstruction of justice. He was trying to interfere with the investigation. When he pays other people's legal fees, that could be viewed the same way that the hush money that was paid to Watergate defendants to keep them silent. That's another obstruction. But yes, if he then starts pardoning people, and I think even his pardon of Arpaio, the sheriff in Arizona, who he pardoned, was a clear message to other potential witnesses. Don't worry. You can violate any court order. You don't have to testify. I'll pardon you after you get convicted for that. So you don't have to worry. It's okay. That, to me, is obstructing justice by telling witnesses you don't have to cooperate. It's much like what Nixon did by saying, you can always say, I don't remember, I don't recall, even if you do. Well, that isn't true. That's perjury to say, I don't remember if you do. And people went to jail for that.
Yeah. Quickly, I want to get to Donald Trump Jr. As you know, he's under scrutiny for his Russia contacts, but earlier this week on Instagram called his WikiLeaks contacts nothing burgers and keep coming at me, guys. Does that just potentially hurt him with the special counsel, or do you think it's of no consequence, this attitude? attitude.
Oh, it's a bad attitude, but it reminded me very clearly of Senator Gary Hart, who a long time ago was running for president and was under suspicion of having some affairs with women.
Monkey business, wasn't that the boat?
Exactly.
Yeah.
He got caught because he said to the press, "Oh, you can follow me, there's nothing there." And so the press followed him and took pictures of him on Monkey Business, a boat with a blonde, not his wife, on his lap. And that ended his presidential ambitions. So I would say to Donald Trump Jr., be careful what you're asking for, because they may follow you and you may be in more trouble.